So last week I was in Geneva for a really high level mastermind and we paid $32,000 to be a part of it. And in this video, I want to share the 5 lessons I took away from those 4 days. Lessons that every creative entrepreneur or creative business owner can implement. So let's dive into it. So lesson number 1 is systemize as much as possible. Many tasks in any business, especially creative business, from acquiring clients, follow-ups, onboarding, can be automated, can be turned into systems, automated processes. And the goal with automating as much as possible and systemizing as much as possible is not to kill your creativity. It's to remove any friction and free up your time. Take client acquisition as an example. A lot of businesses, especially creative business, are still doing client acquisition manually. You finish a project, you reach out to a few people, you follow up, you lose track of who replied, and the whole thing eats up hours every single week waiting consistent results. What if instead that entire process ran, on its own? So let's say someone discovers your work through social media, then they land on a simple page, then they fill out a short form, and then automatically they receive, a sequence of emails that builds trust and move them closer to a call. And by the time they speak to you, they already know who you are, they trust you, and they know exactly why they want to work with you and not someone else. That's the most simple system that exists. There's thousands of systems you can implement, but that's the most simple one you can apply in your business, and it runs without you. Every time you systemize something that used to, depend on you remembering it to do it, you get that time back. And that time can go towards the work that truly needs you, which is, service delivery, for example. Service delivery, but creative thinking, strategy, building relationships. And over time, these systems, they compound. And that's what real leverage looks like, in a real, truly creative business. Lesson number 2 is that growth comes from borrowing other people's competence. Growth doesn't come from you doing everything by yourself. It comes from leveraging other people who are better than you at specific things. So instead of asking, how do I do this? Ask, who already knows how to do this better than me? And this simple question can save you tens of thousands of dollars and even a bunch of time. You really grow when you stop trying to be good at everything and start surrounding yourself with specialists who are experts at their field. And that's how you scale without burning out and focus your energy on what only you can do, which is creating value for your clients. Lesson number 3 is that your revenue is proportionate to the value you create. And that was one of the biggest mindset shift of the mastermind. The market doesn't reward effort. It rewards value, the value you create for others. How hard you work doesn't matter as much as the value you create for your clients, the impact you create for them. The more value you help them generate, the more your business gets rewarded in return. And there's always room to improve the value you bring to your clients, always. So the real question you should really ask yourself is, how do I make what I already do even more valuable? How can I get my clients get better results faster, in a more efficient way? Because when clients see measurable impact, not just, deliverables, they're willing to pay more, stay longer, and trust you with bigger and bigger projects. And that's how your revenue grows, not by doing more work, but by creating more value with the work you already do. Lesson 4 is don't sell time, sell outcomes. Charging per hour caps your growth and your revenue. No matter how many hours you work, there's always a cap to how much revenue you can bring in if you charge per hour. And like we saw, the market doesn't reward effort, it rewards impact. So instead, package your work around an outcome your clients want to achieve. For example, rather than charging $200-300 per hour, make the client pay for the result, which is for example, a clear strategy that increases their visibility, attracts more leads, more clients, and grows their revenue. Because it doesn't matter if you work 10 hours or 50 hours to bring that results. The client don't care. The clients see the same value and you get paid for the impact, not your time. This approach really lets you grow your business without, trading hours for dollars. And you can build stronger and longer relationships because you're tied to their results, not how many hours you work. And lesson 5 is have a clear mission. The strongest businesses are driven by a specific and measurable mission. And a mission isn't just a nice statement to have. It's a compass. It tells you why your business exists beyond making money and helps you focus your time and energy on what, really matters. For example, a clear and measurable mission for, a creative business could be to help 1,000 e-commerce brands launch campaigns that grow their client base and visibility over the next 3 years. And when your mission is clear, everything else becomes easier. From choosing the right clients to work with, to deciding which projects to take on, to choosing the right opportunities. When you're driven by a clear mission, everything you do makes sense and is aligned with that mission. So you're not distracted by the busy work or, chasing, let's say, low value clients who don't deserve your time, your energy, effort and value you can provide them, because every action you take is aligned with that bigger mission, bigger goal that you have. Everything is tied to it. And that's how businesses scale, with focus, intention, and real impact.